talking about SNL, the history, the mysteries, and all the hot impressions in between, breaking down all the numbers as well. In the favorite sketches with special guests, it's on the Saturday Night Network.
Yes, so welcome on in, everybody, to the Saturday Night Network for another edition of our feedback show, coming to you at the end of April 2026 to look back and recap every episode of SNL and SNL UK that aired this month, including those with Jack Black, Colman Domingo, Riz Ahmed, Jack Whitehall, and Nicola Coughlan. So it should be a great show here tonight, and I got Victoria Franzo with me along for the ride. Victoria, how are you?
Hello, and excited to talk about SNL UK for the first time, and to do this with some great fans of the show.
Yeah, very excited to get into everything. Always fun to check in with our biggest supporters of the show. And if you want to join us on one of these shows, you always can. Patreon.com/the SNL Network, where we do these about once a month during the SNL season. And we will have one more of these to wrap up both seasons of US and UK at the start of June. So a lot to get into tonight. Of course, we will have patrons calling in about every 15 minutes, starting in just a couple of them. I want to thank Late Nighter for being the presenting partner of our show here tonight as we kick things off, and check in with you, Victoria. How has the last month of SNL been for you?
I've really enjoyed it. It feels really fresh, and especially since, there's SNL UK that we've been keeping up with. I feel like there are a lot of fresh perspectives and a lot of great energy, for SNL US with Jack Black and Colman Domingo. They are just phenomenal, one, people, and then two, performers. So it's been a really fun month for SNL all over.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, it's kind of two very different hosts for SNL US that we got in April. Someone who is widely celebrated as being one of the greats and finally getting his big moment in Jack Black, and then someone who has been in the scene for a long time, but was never booked on SNL, and sort of you maybe thought the time has passed to book him on the show, and he does come on. And I thought both did a fantastic job. I believe that both of them won MVPs from our audience for the voting for those weeks. So in the US, great stuff. And I feel like Riz Ahmed, Jack Whitehall, and Nicola Coughlan all did very solid jobs as SNL UK hosts. I think out of the three, I think my favorite episode was Jack Whitehall's. If I had to think about that, we could certainly talk about that with the patrons here tonight. But I did think that there was something in every episode of SNL UK that really made me continue to be impressed with the show. So I think this was a great month of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I would just describe it as fun, to simply put it. I think folks would enjoy every episode, at least one moment from every episode.
Absolutely. And I'm very excited, Victoria, to just be, we're going to have a lot of patrons joining us, but to be you and I here tonight, it's fun. It's cool. We always have like a lot of our podcaster friends, but I'm excited to get more thoughts from you throughout the night. So without further ado, let's bring in our first patron that's going to be joining us here this evening. And my man, Fred, is here. Fred, what's up, buddy?
John, Victoria, hey, great to see you.
Hi, Fred.
Great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Just a little bit sad that we're in our final stretch coming up, right? It's crazy how quickly time flies, and then we're just going to be excited about 52. But no, things are doing well.
I find it so weird because every time an SNL season starts, we have so many episodes in quick succession in the fall, where it's like 8 and 9 weeks or 9 and 10 weeks or something like that, 9 and 11 weeks, something like that. And then it feels like we're pacing ourselves and going through the season, and then all of a sudden the spring you get these big gaps, and because there's other things that are happening, time seems to move even quicker, if that's possible, in the spring, and it's like all of a sudden we're at the end of the season. But yeah, Fred, I totally resonate being sad at what they're looking at the fact that this is almost over. We still have some good episodes coming up, but I'd love to know how you feel about the episodes that you saw this April.
I really like them both. I think Jack Black, he never fails. Just so much good energy. Even if every sketch wasn't that phenomenal, he just like really, brings it over the top. And then Colman Domingo was such a charmer. I thought, again, with him too, like I could just watch him act forever. I think like he just knows, he's just a phenomenal actor and really just like chews up a scene. He's like a real scene stealer. So I really enjoyed both of those 2 episodes. And SNL UK also has been really like refreshing to watch, because it is very familiar in many ways, and that's kind of like, I'm kind of surprised in some ways how familiar it is, some of the formats and some of the jokes, and then also when it's a little bit different, that's also very refreshing.
Are you happy with how familiar it is? Would you have preferred something much different?
I'd probably prefer it to be as different as they want it to be and as it can be. I mean, it's possible that maybe we're just not as different as we'd like to think, but I like when it's a bit different. Like, I like when they push the envelope a bit more. I think that's something that's maybe we can take a page from a bit, be like a little edgier, like what SNL used to be a bit known for.
Yeah, I think they get to that at some point. Victoria, are you happy with how the format of SNL UK has developed over these 5 episodes?
Yeah, I am. I think it's been. I think I would describe it as, what if SNL had a brand new cast and a brand new perspective? Like, if we kind of wiped our slate clean. I don't know. I like that it's familiar, but different. I like the format that you can kind of follow along with it, but because they have just a very, they have different senses of humor, they have different politics and other current events happening. It's a different lens to look at it. So I found it just refreshing enough to keep along.
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's kind of cool to have some younger people be running the show. I went to go see the Lorne documentary, which we got to interview Morgan Neville this past month. So on the podcast, there's been some fun SNL stories we had between him and Jorma Taccone. But seeing the Lorne documentary, I mean, I'm so fascinated with Lorne Michaels and how incredible he is to me. To make a sports comparison, he's like George Steinbrenner, like, has such an amazing eye for talent. No one will ever beat him. But there is something cool about having someone younger come in who may be more with the times of today, and you see that being reflected in the show. Fred, how do you feel about how SNL UK has done with gathering a younger audience?
Like, we're kind of fortunate because they're basically in the middle of something that we're going to have to reckon with one day, eventually, with Lorne. So in a way, it's kind of like this like guinea pig of, okay, what if SNL had to, it's not truly start from scratch, but start from scratch, or kind of like rethink the playbook. So in a way, it's kind of fascinating to watch, because our I'm just going to keep calling it our SNL is eventually going to have to go through something similar. Not necessarily, but very possibly.
Yeah, I would think so. And on tonight's show, we're certainly going to be talking about what we will see in May and do a little bit of previewing for Olivia Rodrigo's double duty episode coming up this weekend. We got Matt Damon the following week with Noah Kahan, who everyone's very excited and talking about his music right now. And then just 2 absolute legends headlining the finale of season 51 with Will Ferrell and Paul McCartney. So there's so many things we can get into tonight. Fred, do you have any questions for Victoria or I to kick off the show here tonight?
I do. I have 2 questions. One of them we've been touching upon, basically, what do you think SNL US can learn from SNL UK so far? So like, what have we liked that they're doing differently, or also maybe how they're like, what if they have like a different approach behind the scenes that I'm not privy to? That would be one of my 2 questions.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Victoria, I'd love to get your take on this as well. I think that playing with the format is something that SNL did a long time ago, and then they got away from it as, it started to get more comfortable in what they can and can't do on the show. And everything became very rigid. I think that it really takes like a director changing to go from like Don Roy King to, him leaving the show, to them potentially having like different ways that they shoot out from a sketch and you see the audience. But then you watch SNL UK and you see how they're sort of forced into their commercial breaks by having, instead of going to commercial, having the host run out of a sketch and introduce the musical performances. And I'm like, oh man, it's something so little sometimes that you just need to be like, okay, like this is like a sandbox and the show has parameters to work within, but then you can do what you want within that box and play with the format. And I think that that's what's been so refreshing for me, that I think SNL US can potentially learn from SNL UK, besides the obvious of maybe a slightly smaller cast would be best. But Victoria, what's your take on this?
I was just gonna say the exact same thing. I wish it was a little looser in how they approach their sketches and the format a little bit, as well as I was also gonna say a bit of a smaller cast. I love when we get to be a little bit more familiar with folks, and I mean, granted, this is SNL UK's first run of things, and we're still getting used to that cast. So, like, I already feel like I know some of them just based on a few sketches and their styles, and because we've gotten a chance to see more of them consistently. And so I think that's something maybe I'm craving from our SNL a little bit more too. But yeah, I think essentially to echo John, a little bit looser in a smaller cast. Not that I want to see anyone go necessarily, just, if people happen to leave, maybe not replacing them.
Do you think that if SNL US started from scratch in some alternate universe, they would also start with a smaller cast? And it's just the fact that, they have like legacy players and people that have been on for a long time, people that everyone loves, that it's part of that? Or do you think they're more strategic about who might leave, who they can keep, and like having that flexibility? Like, do we know, or do we have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I think that people like Keenan wouldn't happen if they started now. I think that the Keenan being around, he's to me still a top 10 player of all time, probably, but there is like a diversity factor to the fact that this show has been lacking diversity for half a century. And I think that there's a feeling that, okay, well, we always have Keenan, right? That's the thing. It's like, we can always say, well, if we don't have a black woman on the cast, we do have Keenan, who's been here for 23 years. And I think it's become a little bit of a crutch. And I'm not saying that's the only reason he stuck around. He's certainly qualified to being somebody who sticks around for a long time and have sort of this like LeBron-esque career, if anyone's going to have it. But to me, I don't think the legacy players would come into account, certainly if you started over from scratch right now. And I also think that Lorne had a hand in the UK cast. He didn't maybe make the final say, but I'm sure he had a say in the structure. So it is a bit telling that this feels like what he would do if he could do it.
Mm-hmm. And I would think too, like, at least from someone who's put on shows before, you never really want to oversaturate it with a lot of players. You kind of want to start small and then build. So I would say they would probably keep it a little bit tighter if ever.
So you guys don't think that? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just say, Fred, I mean, it's really a cast of 9, though. Like, if you think about it, like Patty and Anya haven't been in much. They do like a couple extra things here and there, sort of have like the Jost and Shay role at this point. But it's not like in the days of, Seth and Amy, where you still had Amy in a bunch of sketches, or Jimmy and Tina, where Jimmy was in a bunch of sketches. Like, both Patty and Anya are not really in stuff. So it's really a cast of 9 players, which is sort of closer to what we had in the original days. And I just find it interesting. I think that it's so cool to get to see. It also does expose some of the flaws in the way that the US system has just sort of, continue to cover up their warts over the years and been like, all right, well, we got to keep this person here, so let's just add another person kind of slightly different than them.
Yeah, and like kind of like prepare for when that person leaves eventually, like, or kind of like band-aid a new person that is like clearly a replacement of an older person. That doesn't always work.
Yeah, but also, I mean, like, look, SNL UK is in the honeymoon phase right now. Like, we're all like, oh, yeah, like 5 episodes in, like, this is great. We're on our 5th date. Like, we're still doing it, But now it's like, once they're around for a few years, we might just be like, all right. So you never know. Like, you still have to keep it up.
And what is it? Only a season of 8, which is not a lot. So
no.
Yeah, so you need more people to have more ideas to get to like that 21 episodes. So there's also that factor.
Yes, certainly. Did you have a second question you wanted to ask us?
Yes, just more. I think I have my own opinion on this. I think I know the answer, but do you think there's been a Domingo level sketch this season of like that, like popularity, and what you might think that is, and is it bad that there isn't something like that necessarily that's really exploded to that level?
Victoria, you want to take this one first?
Oh, short answer, no, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's, we're still getting on our, still getting things up and moving. I mean, the only thing I could think of, like if we were talking about sketch, I'm thinking of a pre-tape specifically. It's the Operation sketch with Riz Ahmed.
Were you asking about SNL UK or US?
So that's so I was actually asking US, but
okay.
I open it to the Commonwealth as well. I meant more like in the US, but the Operations one is great.
I was gonna say Operation one I just recently watched and it's top of mind. Colman Domingo level.
No.
Sorry, Domingo. Oh, that's my mistake. I meant like Domingo. So
okay.
Marcelo Domingo.
Oh
sorry,
my.
Too many Domingos.
Oh.
All right. Why don't I take this one first?
Yeah, you go first. I'm getting Domingos.
While Victoria catches up on the conversation.
Yeah.
Then, all right. I would say I think the MAGA Mom sketch is just as viral. It may have hit like a different segment of the SNL viewing public, but I think that sketch created GIFs and memes that have been all over and has led to many publications writing about the Padilla pause and all of that. I think that sketch was super popular because it sort of like built upon itself with Ashley, where you had these like early season moments of the farting sketch and there's a bunch of them, the haircut, all of them. And you're like, okay, we all knew Ashley was great, but that one really hit because I think that in a weird way, people on the right and people on the left loved it. So it was been very rare that there's like a beloved SNL sketch, especially a political one. So I think that one is probably just as viral as Domingo, if not more important.
Ooh, that's a really good answer, John.
Yeah, I mean, I personally can't think of one. I don't think it's a bad thing, actually, but I do know there was even a time where some of the pre-tapes would go, like, at least amongst like my friend group, go pretty viral, like that Super Mario one or whatever. That was like really high production value, or like some of the videos. But to me, I think it's been consistent. Like to me, it's been a consistently better season, even if there haven't been those, for lack of a better word, like high highs that went crazy. I think just like on average, I've been like really impressed with the season. I mean, there's only been like 2 episodes that I found pretty lackluster, and even they were fine.
I would agree with you. I think like just looking at the sketches that went extremely viral in the last few years, I think last year you had Domingo. 2 years ago, you had Washington's Dream and Beavis and Butthead. 3 years ago, you had Lisa from Temecula. I think you probably don't get one in season 47. And then maybe you have to go back to like the XXX rap roundtable with Chalamet the year before. Like I think MAGA Mom like can easily be in that group of like sketches in the last 5 years that went super viral. Maybe doesn't reach the absolute peak of like online TikTok views the way that we had last year with Domingo. But I think that is one that certainly qualifies.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm not from like a viral being so viral, but like I would think Snack Homies is another one. Obviously not as much as MAGA Mom, but I think based on what my non-SNL fan friends have brought up, that one seems to be a repetitive, repeated one, especially with the Sabrina Carpenter episode. And maybe it's because it has Sabrina Carpenter, but yeah, Snack Homies. Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, doesn't that seem like forever ago? Like Sabrina Carpenter. It's like, yeah,
it does. Every year I put together a list of essential, best, and sleeper sketches. And essential is usually the sketches that are like, hey, here's the absolute, like if you're trying to get what season 51 is, you watch these sketches. And right now in the 3 slots, I got MAGA Mom, I do have Snack Homies, and I have the Delta Sky Lounge sketch with Bowen departing, because I feel like those are the 3 to sort of like tell the story of the season right now. Of course, there's room to add any others. We'll see what happens in the next 3, but that's sort of like where I'm at, Fred.
You talking tech?
Yes, I am.
maybe you talking tech? Yeah.
Yeah,
that
casting's a
makes
good one
sense.
too, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So we'll see what happens over the next month. But I love the shirt. I still miss
Thank you.
David Bowie as well.
Yes.
So great shirt that you brought to the pod here tonight. And always
Thank
good to chat with you. Looking
Yeah,
forward
absolutely.
to catching up with you one more time after the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great stretch. I'm excited.
Yeah, thanks, Fred. Appreciate you joining us here tonight.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, let's keep going, Victoria. Let's talk to our friends. Scott is here. Scott, what's up, buddy? You're just unmute yourself on StreamYard so we can just make sure that we do hear you. Hey, Scott.
It's been quite a month, especially the Mets were 2-1 when we last had our Patron Feedback Show.
Yeah,
And now
is it my fault?
No.
I think they lost 12 in a row. Joining us as well is Ian. What's up, Ian?
Hello, how is everyone? Can you hear me?
Doing great. Always love, and don't turn it off. I love getting to see the TV in the background as we get to see us like 1 minute behind. So
yeah,
it's always very fun. So hello, future me. Ian, how are you, buddy?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to get to talk to both you and Scott here. So Scott, I'll start with you. How was the last month of Saturday Night Live for you?
I've enjoyed it quite a bit. The US side had two amazing hosts and some peculiar sketches. And UK, I thought Coughlan was probably the best of the three. The one with the magazine felt very Melissa McCarthy.
Yes, no doubt.
Yeah,
she was fantastic. It was really cool to see her get to perform that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that second round of George Foraker's
was fantastic. Yeah, he was really, really cool. And it was great to get to see him have such another big week this week. Ian, what about you? How's the last month of Saturday Night Live for you?
I enjoyed all or if not most of it, both US and UK. I've been really enjoying UK a lot, learning new music I haven't heard yet, which has been cool. I've been listening to Wet Leg ever since they performed. So
yes, they were really great. Honestly, I completely agree with you. Even like Georgia Smith was really fantastic. Every musical guest this run for SNL UK has been top notch. Foo Fighters, not so different than what I've heard before, but still always fun to get them on the show. So it's cool to revisit a great Foo Fighters appearance. So Scott, do you have any questions for Victoria and I?
Yeah. Do you think the feeling of hitting this end of the season is also partly that we're coming to terms with we've definitely lost 2 episodes. Like we're not getting 22s anymore. We're seemingly not getting 21s anymore. We seem pretty right at 20 for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think that was probably like a post-writer strike thing where they were just not gonna go back to it, and it just made sense budget-wise. Like NBC probably cut the budget a touch. We all keep reading articles about how expensive it is. I think I've gotten used to the 20 episode seasons now from just not hitting 21. I think since 47. Victoria, does the season feel a little bit shorter to you with the episode counts we've had the last couple of years?
It does. It feels like usually there's a little bit more to, debrief on and talk about. And, especially with the gap in between episodes, it feels, I would be lying if I, didn't say it feels a little empty, but I also don't mind because I do appreciate my sleep. So, but no, on a serious note, it does feel like something's missing, but I think after watching SNL for many, many years and having that, it's we've noticed it, but I think we'll get used to it. And sometimes it's a nice break for us and the cast.
I think 20 is totally the right number, by the way. I mean, obviously I'd love more SNL, but I think we're getting that with UK. I think that 20 is like a healthier number for the cast right now. Ian, do you want to comment on that, or is there something else you would like to ask us about?
Well, I just want to say I didn't really notice until you pointed it out, especially with SNL UK this year. Like I've liked having the extra SNL, especially on the off weeks. that's been a nice little treat for my SNL nerddom. As far as questions go, I don't really. I always have the speculations of the future questions, but I'll leave those until the summer.
Yeah, if you got someone specific you want to ask about, it's no problem. I mean, we're definitely at the point of the season where we could start prognosticating these things.
Well, it's just because of the big hit for the finale of Farrell and McCartney. I mean, like that feels like a super important leave, whether it's cast or behind the scenes or something. I'm like, McCartney, like unless he just wanted to do it one more time because he is getting old, that also would make sense. But
well, look, I don't think Lorne is leaving. There's been no indication, and if he was gonna go, like it probably would be an Irish goodbye where we would just be like, all right, he's gone. But I don't think it's this year. There's been no indication at all, even like within like the industry or like people talking. Like I haven't heard anything. But there is like a major question of why now? Why are we getting the perfect season finale lineup this year of all years? It's really fascinating to think about because there's been so many years where we've been speculating here about being like, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if so-and-so could come back and be, host the finale? Or like at the start of 50, if we can get some OG cast members, like we always say like, oh, what if we get the perfect thing? I think if you polled most of the community, even the casual fans, and you said, what's the perfect SNL finale lineup? This would be on the bingo card for sure. So it's just very rare as an SNL fan to get exactly what you want. So I can't help but be a little bit conspiratorial and just be like, there must be something going on, Victoria, but I don't know what it is.
I was thinking that too. I said, we're either going to be like that lineup in itself is a gift, but I'm thinking I couldn't help. I'm like, are they trying to soften the blow with some news, or are they, sweeten us up to give us another gift? So only time will tell. I agree. I haven't heard really anything. And in some ways, I feel like Lorne's, I don't want to say he's just getting started, but I feel like he has a lot left in him to give to the show, especially with, he may be re-energized with the movie coming out recently. And, I think there are a lot of things happening in the world, in the industry, that he just may want to have his hand on to, experience before he leaves. There's a lot of newness I think he would want to, take on before he pieced out, as the kids say.
Can I throw out two theories? Okay, this is some real John talk here, and Ian and Scott, I want you to let me know like how you feel about these. Okay, so number one, I think that post 50, post being 80 years old, Lorne is at the point right now where people will not be able to say no to him. Whereas before, they may have said like, all right, Lorne, like I'll host again one day, but maybe not right now. I think people are saying, not that he's going to like go immediately, but that people are like, well, I don't know if I'm going to get to host again while Lorne is here, so I might as well do it now. So if he asks Will Ferrell, maybe Will's like, hey, this might be the last time that I like Lorne's in the building when I do this, even if he is around for another couple of years. So if the timing makes sense, let's just do it. Scott, does that make sense?
And there's also the point where a lot of people believe that he's like the last line of defense before a real sledgehammer comes down on the show as a whole. With like, he was able to stave off some budget. Like, there are bigger budget slashings that are waiting for him to go.
Yes, totally. Like maybe they can't afford to have I don't know what they're paying these guys, but to have a Will Ferrell and Paul McCartney when Lorne isn't there anymore. So that is a good point. And then my other theory is that maybe they just gave Ashley what she wanted, which was that she said that she loves Will Ferrell and would love to be in a sketch with him one day. And they're like, all right, well, we have a breakout star here. Let's have her end her great season, maybe one of the greatest second seasons we've ever seen from a cast member, by putting her with potentially the greatest cast member of all time. Ian, what do you think of that?
Well, that last one is interesting because I mean I don't know how much they're playing favorites there, especially for a technically featured player. I don't want her to leave, so I don't want them to do anything like that for her. Like, well, I got my one episode. I'm ready to go do a sitcom now. I want her to stay and do some more years. But I'm also worried, with the big names. That like leads to a possibility of more cameos, which leads then to less cast members getting screen time. So we'll see how that pans out. I don't think we need it. Will is a force of his own by himself, so I don't think we need cameos to boost that episode at all. But you know how they do.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, I don't know who pops up with Will. We had a lot of Will, and we had a lot of Anna Gasteyer last year at the 50th. Is it possible that she gets, some due by coming back for this finale? That would be interesting. I do think that sometimes Lauren and the producers of the show look at the show or big moments like a premiere or typically not a premiere, but sometimes a premiere, a Christmas show and a finale as like an all-star game where they could maybe put people together that you don't normally see together. And I think that's what we got at the 50th, which certainly felt more like an all-star game than a anniversary show in the tradition of what we had at the 25th or the 15th and somewhat the 40th. So I think it's possible, certainly, that there's some combination of like, I just want to see how Will Ferrell does with this cast. Scott, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. Ian's comment about how if it was a Padilla favor that he might be jumping ship or whatever, it was interesting because this pilot season has been like kind of getting a revival in network spaces this year. So it's like, well, if there's going to be opportunities, I mean, it's obviously not. That's not going to happen this year for Ashley. Or I mean, it maybe could, but it probably is more viable a comment this year than it was last year. At least.
I'm completely with you. I don't think that it's hey, Ashley is leaving by any means. Like, I think it's way too early to start getting into any of that. I just think it's perhaps Ashley, they know that Ashley's going to be the face of this show for many years. So maybe this year it's hey, let's put Ashley with Will Ferrell. And maybe next year it's hey, let's put Ashley with Eddie Murphy. There are some things that I think that they could start to imagine when you get somebody like this in the building that gets pretty exciting, the same way that they were like, well, what if we put Kristen, what if we put Kate McKinnon with Amy Poehler, Kate McKinnon with Kristen Wiig? Like, you start to think about these things as some of the big stars enter Saturday Night Live. So, yeah, very excited to see what's going to happen. Ian, is there anything else you're looking forward to in May?
All of the episodes are exciting. I'm excited for Elrod's double duty. I like her. Just like they said in that Reggie John Page episode, like, this is the best bridge of all time in Driver's License. That still stands true in my opinion. I love it so much. So I know it's an old song. We're not going to get it, but hey. And one thing I would like to see is the way they did that sketch with Marty Short and Paul McCartney at the end, where with the triangle, and then it led into like a musical number. I would like to see that at the end of the season, where the last sketch goes into Paul McCartney doing like a big shebang with everybody, because I mean, he's a legend, to say the least. So, and is, pretty much synonymous with the show, friends with Lauren. Like, let's just go out with a bang this season. Why not?
And don't forget, we got two of those in the building, right? Because we got Will Ferrell, Goodnight Saigon, which we had from season 34, and probably the best ending to a season ever, in my opinion. So it is possible that we just get this epic final sketch. Colin Jost usually writes that kind of stuff. That's the dream. So,
that was Hammond's big farewell. He had three different opportunities, basically three different goodbye sketches. The cold open with Cheney and Bush, the Celebrity Jeopardy, and the Goodnight Saigon.
So,
and he never left because he's doing announcements.
Yes, it's true. He did come back.
Well, wait, Brent.
Yeah, because he did come back for some cameos. He does eventually do the announcements. What's funny is we interviewed Daryl a few years ago, and Daryl said he's like, I didn't view that as my goodbye episode, but I don't know. I think the fans certainly did. But yeah, a lot of really cool things that we can expect coming up over the next month.
And Rodrigo also had the Tiny Ass Bag sketch when she was musical guest last time, and I mean, we've seen the Disney Nickelodeon pipeline, how they do with SNL, whether it's Kiki, Austin, Selena, Jenna, Miley. It's a good track record that I think she'll do pretty amazing this weekend.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what she's going to do. So we'll be here to cover it all. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you. Ian, thank you as well.
Thank you for having me. It's always a good time.
For sure.
Thanks. We will chat soon, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
All right, Victoria, this has been
Sweet.
a great time so far. Yeah, very amazing guys that we've had on the show. Really appreciate both of them joining us, and bringing in another one right now. It's our friend Max is here. Max, what's up, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Hi,
Doing
Max.
fantastic. How's your April?
It's going well. I've spent the past 92 hours listening to The Great Divide, so I am ready for Noah on SNL.
Yes,
Wow.
tell us, because I haven't listened, but I've heard there's been a lot of hype. Like, what's the major story of the Noah Khan album?
I love Noah Khan. He's my favorite artist. I would say the major story is sadness and depression. So if you like to be sad,
Okay.
then you should listen to the album. That's what I'll say.
All right. So I feel like that's like a little bit like Olivia Rodrigo's vibe too. So I think we're getting like sad girl May is coming up.
Sad girl May.
So, yeah.
I'm already on it. I'm already on it.
Okay. Well, Max, is there anything that you would like to talk to Victoria or I about?
Yeah, speaking of Noah and Olivia, I had noticed that statistical anomaly that they are, for the second time now, both musical guests in back-to-back episodes. Has that ever happened before? Like, is this the first time this has happened? I couldn't think of any.
That is a good question. Musical guest, I would say probably not. Is it possible that we've had a host that has hosted, like two hosts consecutively that have either flipped or been two in a row before? I'd have to go through that, but I can't think off the top of my head. So if chat knows, let us know. Otherwise, that could be a very fun graphic coming up, Max, which we will take a look at. But yeah, I guess it was season 49. They were both musical guests, and now they're interesting.
I feel like that's a Mike Murray question.
Yeah, he would for sure have that in his database. So we'll definitely do some checking on that, Max. I appreciate it. But yeah, it is kind of unusual. I guess there is something to be said about a musical guest or a musician's pattern as they put out an album where they might fall in the same cycle. It's like sort of like, okay, this year we're going to put out an album, then we're going to spend the next year writing the album, and then we're going to put out our next one. So there's a good chance that a musician would be more likely to headline in the same year as another musician than just randomly hosting back to back. I was trying to think if there's like a John Goodman, Alec Baldwin or something at some point that like would have flipped sometime in the 90s, but I'm going to try and figure that out in the meantime. Max, what have you thought about all the April episodes that we've had over the last month?
I've enjoyed most of them. And I love the Jack Black episode. I was a little bit lower on Colman Domingo. And then I'm watching SNL UK. I'm not like as into it as the main show. I enjoyed the Nicola Coughlan episode, but overall it's been interesting to watch. I'm not in love with it, but I've enjoyed it.
I think I saw that because you post sometimes you post your ratings in our Discord chat. I think I saw briefly that you put the Coughlan episode as your favorite of the season.
And I think I also mentioned that that might have been like how American that one felt too, like with Jimmy Fallon, with Foo Fighters, with those like the Natalie Portman reference. Like, yeah, that one definitely felt the most familiar to me.
Yeah, you're a nationalist. You're like anything US. Otherwise.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I'm just joking. But yeah. Well, if you don't have any, is there any other questions or storylines you have? Because if not, we could jump into the mailbag.
There was one other thing quickly. I don't want to spoil anything for people who are still catching up on it, but with everything going on with Jeopardy right now, with Jamie Ding and with Will Ferrell hosting the finale, do we think there is possibility for a cameo there in a couple of weeks?
Well, Victoria, you want to take this one?
That's a great question. I don't know. Just because Will, historically has played Alex Trebek, God rest his soul. but I think it would be, but like, how fun would it be to have like a Ken Jennings and have Will Ferrell play someone else? So maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, here, I'm gonna throw something out. What if we did some sort of Celebrity Jeopardy, but Colin Jost hosted it? Because I think he's been in sketches. He does host what if we did Pop Culture Jeopardy, but then we had
that could be cool.
That could be something that I mean, obviously we haven't covered other Jeopardy iterations. They just started doing, I don't know if they've aired any or they started to film Sports Jeopardy with Joe Buck now on ESPN. They're continuing to find new spin-offs to the Jeopardy franchise, but I do think that there is something fun to think about there. Also, Max, Will Ferrell, I believe, played Harry Carey after he died, and
it's true.
That's true, yeah.
And at one point they were like, "Aren't you dead?" And he's like, "I don't know where I am." So I think there's definitely like a possibility that I think he could bring back the Trebek impression. I don't think anybody would look at it and think it was mean-spirited.
No, especially the impression never was. It was, I don't think so.
Yes. So, I mean, I would honestly, I do think Celebrity Jeopardy is one of the greatest sketch formats they've had in the history of the show. There's something that just clicks so well. Of course, there's a lot of inside jokes, with Daryl and with Norm and all of that stuff. But I do think that it just allows the cast an opportunity to find a really weird impression and then have them try and play a game where they just play it so stupid. And it sort of turns celebrity impressions into how do I say this? Less like a Chloe doing Jennifer Coolidge, where it's like, hey, the voice is so similar and you kind of look like her impression, into a SNL impression, which is like, how do we take the features of what you know about somebody and make them silly in an SNL sketch format? I think Celebrity Jeopardy allows you to do that better than some of the other celebrity impressions we've seen in the last few years.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's jump into the mailbag. Let's see some of the questions that we had sent in, and Max and Victoria would love your take on this. So this one comes in from D Griffin 930, who says, "What do you want to see from the rookies in the last run of 3, particularly Ben and Cam?" So, they have been definitely a topic of conversation on the podcast. Cam probably had a much better April than Ben, but he is somebody who I think, both of them at least could use a good May. Victoria, who do you think will have a good May?
I hope all of them. I would say for the final stretch of Saturday, this season, I would want more clarity than volume from the newer featured players. And if we're focusing on Ben and Cam, we know what, starting with Ben, we know what he can do within Please Don't Destroy. I guess the question has been this season whether he can become sort of a standalone presence outside of that ecosystem. So like in these last few episodes, I personally would want to see a live sketch where he fully carries it. And then a desk piece that's original, not playing a different character that feels like it's his, something that could be recurring. So, that's for Ben. For Cam, I think he has a very naturally funny presence and it feels distinct immediately, which matters. But now I want to know what type of characters can he own? What kind of premises does he write or excel at that no one else could? And then, I just feel like a lot of newer stand-ups arrive with, I'm charismatic and funny as myself. And that's energy is great. And that can get you noticed quickly. But the staying power on SNL for me, I think often comes from building those repeatable lanes. I just think of what Marcelo Hernandez did well early. He immediately understood how to translate his perspective into update pieces and recurring bits. So yeah, that's my answer.
Max, what do you think those two need to do this month?
I think Ben needs redemption on update after the Jack Harlow piece got cut. That was probably his biggest moment. Even with it getting cut, it might still be his biggest moment of the season, behind maybe the ice skating sketch. That would have been huge for him if it made a lot of air, considering how big it was on just social media after being cut. So I think he needs redemption on update because he can do something on his own there. Like we see him with other people. We've seen him with Please Don't Destroy. We haven't seen Ben on his own yet, outside of the first update bit that I don't think anyone was really in love with. So that I think would be big for him. And then Cam, I think, kind of just needs to keep doing what he's doing. He's steadily like improving. He's gotten better over the course of the season, I think. So I don't know if he has enough to come back for a second season, but I think if he keeps doing what he's doing, he'll at least have proven to people that this isn't a horrible fit. Like he can stick around if they choose to keep him around.
Yeah, I think Cam's odds are much higher after what we saw in April. So I do think that it's crucial that he maintains this momentum. I'm not saying that he has to just lead a sketch every week, but I think that we need him to be a consistent part of these next 3 for us to feel very confident that he's returning. And I think that Cam and Ben have probably both been placed in the reactor type roles this season, where there's like something happening in a sketch and they're responding to it. Cam's personality is so much bigger than Ben's outwardly that I think that Cam excels in those roles. And I do think that we just need to know for sure, for the longevity of his career, that he can have some sketches where people are reacting to something that he's doing, so that he's the one that's in the center of the sketch, and then we have everyone else around him, and he's playing this sort of like bizarre, kooky character. And I do compare him a lot to Tracy. I don't know if that's fair or not, but at least it's something that I do think that there is similarity there in terms of just the way that they, you know, perform and pop on screen. And I think that Tracy eventually, it took many years, but Tracy eventually did figure it out, where he was, you know, the guy who was very vulgar and overly sexual, and that was sort of his thing. And that doesn't have to be Cam's thing, but I think that he will need to eventually figure out what his thing is at some point. Ben, for me, again, still like a little bit more of a mystery. I absolutely loved that Jack Harlow thing. It was so, like, he was so not himself in the role that I was like, that to me was criminal that it got cut, because it really would have changed the perspective of a season. The question is like 51 years into the show, does the fact that it got cut but then still did really well online, does that like does that help him now? Or is it because it's non-canon? Do people are like, like at the show, do they really care? So that's interesting.
I think so. Just to build on that, I think what a lot of shows, I mean, and just brands in general are looking for are those online moments and that online momentum. That's kind of where things are living. Folks aren't watching full episodes on TV anymore. They're gathering it via clips online. But I think, I mean, I agree. Like the criminality of not airing that was it was amazing. And the fact that Jack Harlow's own aunt thought it was him says a lot.
Yeah, I think Ben clearly has the relationships to stay at the show. The question is, does like Lorne think he did enough to prove that he was the guy this year that deserves to be plucked out of PDD and put on the show? It will be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I would think that in this day and age, cut sketches that go viral, probably, especially towards the end of the season, I think it's going to help.
Yeah, it's not nothing, but it's not, to me, at the level of had it made the show. Like, I think that that's the thing, because you do have to keep in mind that there is, you know, Lorne's not online. He's the guy with the final say. So yes, there will be people that will be like, by the way, that sketch did really well online, but is he going to care? Is he going to, like, if his friend, like if he's sitting down for dinner with like Steve Martin, he's like talking about the cast and he's like, this guy was okay. Like, is he going to be like, yeah, so that Ben Marshall guy, his Jack Harlow impression really went viral online. Like, I don't think they're going to care. So like, it's interesting to think about. Max, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Really appreciate you. Anything else you got for us?
Just listen to The Great Divide before Noah comes on SNL. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I will. I'm excited.
Listen to the whole thing. All 21 songs.
I'll have to pick a rainy day.
I'm excited to be sad.
A rainy day is perfect. Especially, rainy day is the perfect vibe.
That's what I'm looking forward to. All right, buddy. We'll catch up after the season. Yes. So looking forward to hearing from you in the chat. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Victoria, you doing okay?
Yes.
Yeah, you having fun?
Yes, it's very fun.
Okay, great. Let's bring in two more of our friends joining us here tonight. And first, we'll bring in Christian is here. Christian, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. You're coming in a little echoey, so I just want to make sure we can hear you okay. If you do have a mic, just move it a little bit closer to you. And In the meantime, here, you muted yourself on StreamYard, so just double check that. In the meantime, I'll bring in Marcus, and then we'll come back to you in a second, Christian. Okay, so hey, Marcus, how are you, buddy?
Hang in there. The show is pretty much like only just gotten started, so it'll get better as we go along here. Grateful to be back again, and grateful to be back here and to talk about SNL for the last month. It's been a great April.
Grateful to have you here, Marcus. Christian, do we have you back?
I think we're good. Does that sound okay?
You sound, you know what, go into your StreamYard settings and just make sure your microphone is selected as your audio mic, because it sounds like you might be coming in like through a different microphone in your computer. I can hear you. It's just coming in a little bit loud. So don't stress it. In the meantime, you'll definitely get your time here with us, so don't worry. In the meantime, Marcus, do you have anything that you want to ask Victoria or I?
Not really, not at the moment.
Okay, well, how have you felt about the last month of Saturday Night Live? Are there any episodes or moments that have really been sticking in your head?
I say that the Jack Black episode I actually really enjoyed. The Colman Domingo episode I actually was very up and down about, essentially. But overall, I pretty much like enjoyed for how unique it was, and just the way that Colman really proved himself that he begins to stay on more so than any other host that I can think of, anyway. So it's pretty much like it's a win in my book. So.
Yeah, what was it about Colman's episode that really you felt was so unique?
More or less just like the way he managed to like commit to everything, essentially. Even that PBS documentary, like PBS show, essentially, that was almost like it feel like it should have been at the end of the night, essentially. And I've heard your like take on it, essentially, and honestly, it probably could have, probably better than that last sketch that we end up getting, essentially. But overall, yeah, Beast of Morse, essentially. Because I know that that sketch wasn't really that well liked when I looked into it.
Yeah, Victoria, we were on the Hot Take Show, I believe, for the Colman Domingo episode, and that Knowledge Hour sketch still stuck in my head. Like, I still think it was one of the most fascinating sketches we've had this season.
Yeah, that one, I think I said on the Hot Take Show, I just wasn't sure what was happening, but I allowed myself to go on the ride of, I just like, you know what, go with it. And when I did that, it became very enjoyable. It was kooky and weird, and just, I think, ended up being a delightful one for me.
Yeah, really an all-time great one. Christian, do we have you back?
I think so. This might be the best I can get it at this moment.
You sound great.
Okay,
100% better.
awesome.
So, how are you?
I'm good. Looking forward to these last couple episodes coming up here. But I did actually have one question, just about a cast member that seems a little, maybe stifled is not the right word, but hasn't been on as much as it feels like. Not as much of a presence. It's Mute. So I just want to see with him.
Sorry, you did start cutting out, Christian. We lost you for a second, but I think you were asking, give me, you can always write your question in the private chat. I can answer while you're here, but were you asking about Andrew Dismukes? Give me a thumbs up if that's.
Yeah, yes. I was asking about how you guys are feeling about his season. It has kind of felt like sort of a lesser, like, not really feeling his presence as much as previous seasons. He's obviously still on the show a lot. He's in the upper echelon of sketches and stuff, but it hasn't felt like a Dismukes season, for better or worse. So I'm just thinking how you guys are also thinking about his season so far.
Yeah, we got that clearly. So thanks for asking the question. Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with Andrew because I love him so much. He's been my favorite cast member, I'd say pre-Ashley, sort of, coming into her own. Like, I think that while I've been covering the show, Andrew's just voice has been so fantastic. And then, we all forget, we all have short-term memory sometimes with SNL. Like, he led the entire cast in sketch appearances last season. So, like, to me, that's like one major way to just be like, wow, you had an amazing season. And he did. Of course, I miss having his voice all over the show, but I do feel like last year was fantastic. I don't know what's been going on lately. It's really kind of bothering me. Like, I maybe started Victoria to speculate, like, is he on his way out of his own choosing, and this is his way of letting us down easy a little bit, where the show knows, all right, he's not going to be here for a long time, so let's only have him in a couple things. But it's been tough for me to watch the show and not see as much Andrew in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's been a little lackluster for me this season from him. I mean, I've been on the shows saying he used to like, while he wouldn't be in sketches for a long time, he would make such a punch whenever he did appear. And I feel like that hasn't been happening as much. And I hope he's not getting lost in, the straight man sauce. I feel like we have a lot of straight man characters or players on this show. And I don't know. That is, now that you say, oh, is he on his way out? That kind of makes sense. So I hope that's not the case, but yeah.
It's weird because like if we're not going to do the whole by the numbers tonight because we're going to be talking about this a lot in the next month. But if I just look at the last 5 episodes, he's averaged 2.2 sketches the last 5 episodes. So that's a total of 11 sketches in 5 episodes, which is very weird. If you go back to the start of this season, like if I take any 5 episode sample size, like the first 5 episodes of the season, 4.8. So that's like more than double the amount of sketches he was in. It doesn't feel like this is just a coincidence. This has to be purposeful. I just don't know why it's happening, and I'm sure we'll get that answer eventually, Christian, but I'm a little bit flummoxed by the whole thing. Let me get Marcus's take, and then we'll head back to you to maybe get your take as well. So Marcus, what do you think about what's happening with Andrew?
Yeah, it has been like it's such a shame that he hasn't really done a whole lot, at least in this second half, essentially. Because I know he did a couple like standout moments. Like I remember he did the non-alcoholic beer at one point.
So good.
Yeah, it was pretty much like definitely in there. It was quick to the point, essentially. Didn't really overstay a second. But there's not really like a whole lot that he has done in like recent years, especially this last month, essentially. In fact, the Colman Domingo episode, pretty much like the first time you get a chance to see Andrew in a, let's say, a prominent role, essentially, considering he has been relatively quiet lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you can argue that like the Words to Live By sketch from the Jack Black episode, that country song he did with James, that one was sort of like a pretty big role for him, but not compared to the other roles we've seen earlier this season. If you think about the non-alcoholic beer, like all that, or even the the comic book thing where all the reporters were yelling at him, like, and then I think he had one in the Melissa McCarthy episode, Sunday Supper. Like at least he was trying things at the start of the season. I just haven't seen that at all. Christian, what's your theory?
Yeah, to your point, I feel like the last like big moment from him, I don't remember when the second one of the couple who just hooked up was on the update desk. I think that was like kind of his last like huge standout moment, that one with Ashley. I don't remember what episode that was, but it feels like it's been a long time since like a big like Dismukes like standout moment on the show. Yeah,
that was the Skarsgård episode. So it's right before the Super Bowl. When they were talking about that. And, like I the first time that came on, I loved it so much and I was so excited, and I'm happy that they brought it back, no doubt. But it just felt like at the start of the season, we were setting ourselves up for something really great. And I was thinking in my head, like, what if Ashley is going to reinvigorate Andrew, if that's at all possible, to the point where these two people are going to become a duo. And then it's going to convince Andrew to stick around a few more years. And we're going to see this. And I think I read some article somewhere where Ashley said there's like nobody in the cast that makes her laugh more than Andrew. So I was thinking, oh, this is perfect. Like this is John's dream. But it's taken a turn in an unexpected way that I think that it is possible Ashley has become like a thing of her own, that it's, she's not going to be forced into a duo at this point. It's better to just sort of have her get all that attention. But it's a really interesting question, and it's one that I'm very puzzled about still.
I also feel like as he's went down, Marcelo's kind of been going up at the same time, because Marcelo had a really slow start to the season when Andrew had a really like hot start, and it seems like Marcelo's been getting a lot of more like standout moments on an episode basis, especially the last couple. I feel like he has really been sort of coming into his own this season. But I feel like maybe that's kind of cutting the legs off of Andrew's momentum at the same time. Maybe it's just a thing that needs to be worked out going into next season, but yeah, it's just been very strange.
Yeah, we have seen stuff like this before, and it does often precipitate somebody leaving the show. So that's why I make that speculation. But I think with someone like Marcelo, we were talking a lot of like who was going to take the Bowen screen time. I think that is what happened ultimately with Marcelo, where at the start of the season, it felt like both Marcelo and Bowen maybe like slower starts than we expected. And Bowen was eventually explained that he was leaving. Marcelo, perhaps, losing his co-cast members from his class in Longfellow and Devin. I gotta think that had like some little effect on him. Maybe they weren't using him to the fullest extent. I'm really actually happy with the way that they used Marcelo in the like all-time crazy screen time record that he broke the other week with 16 minutes. So I'm excited for what they're going to do with Marcelo. I just would never want that to expense Andrew, and I'm kind of feeling like that's what we have right now. So yeah, Marcus, any other thoughts on all this?
Yeah, absolutely. Marcelo has been like having an up and down season thus far, essentially, and we pretty much have seen a lot of him, like at least for this month, anyhow. We managed to see him, especially in the Colman Domingo one, essentially. But who knows what might happen with these last month of episodes? So can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, Christian, if you had to put your money on it, do you feel like Andrew is departing the show after this run?
It's been something that I've been kind of thinking about as the seasons went on with this whole topic. I'm going to say no, just because after losing Bowen, and who knows with like a Mikey sort of figure, where he said, is he going to go on like this Keenan trajectory, or is he going to either take a backseat or whatever? So if I had to put money on it right now, I'd say no, but it's a lot closer to yes than it was, especially at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. Victoria, how do you feel if like on what Andrew will ultimately end up doing after this?
I was thinking, I was like, I don't know if I should say it because at the expense of sounding like a silly girl. I wonder if he would go back to being a writer full time and not a cast member.
Because the one that I would want to do that is Mikey, not Andrew.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's ever happened where someone's been a writer or a cast member and then going back to being a writer full time. And I wonder if that's something, I mean, I feel like him being on camera, he's great on camera. I just have a sense that he feels better and more confident as a writer and having that be, the pivotal role he plays on the show. So I was curious as to, if that's something he would do. I don't know that he would leave. It just feels untimely to be honest. But I wonder if he would transition to something else.
It's a good question. I think that Mike O'Brien is the one that I could think of that they tried to do that with, where he became a cast member and they moved him back into the writer's room.
Did Tim Robinson start as a writer?
Tim Robinson, I think, was brought on as a cast member and then moved into the writer's room after he was a cast member, but he didn't have that like sort of writer trajectory. It would just be weird to me, honestly, for Andrew to stick around but not be on screen, because he just feels like he has such an on-screen distinct presence. I think that, not to take away anything from Mikey, but Mikey has been sort of the voice of the audience in a sketch for over 10 years now. And it does feel like someone else can step into that role really easily, like a Ben Marshall, perhaps. So for me, because he's been such a prolific writer and could even be the head writer of this show, it feels more natural for me for that to happen with him. But yeah, that would be a crazy twist if that ended up happening with Andrew Dismukes. Christian, anything else you got for us?
Nope. I'm just looking forward to the last 3 episodes. I do need to catch up on SNL UK. I think the last one I watched was the second episode of the season, so I need to catch up on that. But yeah, just both sad and exciting time of the year, obviously. So just ready to finish this off strong.
Sure. Well, you have a lot to look forward to because there's some good episodes waiting for you. So I appreciate you joining us. And I'm glad we got to hear you. So great to get to see you, and we'll talk soon. Marcus, I really appreciate you joining us here as well.
Thank you for having me. Can't wait to come back again just to finish this off. I'm going for it.
Yes. Looking forward to it, Marcus. So we will chat soon, buddy.
Nice to meet you.
All right, Victoria, let's bring our buddy Ajax is here. Ajax, what's up, man?
Hey, John. Hey, Victoria. How you doing?
Hi, Ajax.
Yes. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go widescreen on this because you always have the best setup. So I want to make sure we
I was
see
gonna say, I'm so intrigued.
The messiest setup, but yes, thank you.
We're featuring every little bit of it. So how's your April, Ajax?
April was good. I really liked these episodes. Loved the Jack Black episode, and I love the weirdness that we got from the Colman episode. I'm always embracing the weird. So I mean, it was so bizarre that in some cases it was almost more bizarre than it was funny, but I'm okay with that too, even. So I almost liken the Colman episode to the Walton Goggins episode last year, where I wish the writing was a little bit better. I thought Colman did such a better job than the material he had to work with. But I thought a lot of the ideas that were brought were probably his. So it's like, give and take. But I want more Walton and I want more Colman. So yeah, that's the one I compare to anyway.
Yeah, it's the age-old question that sometimes we have, which is maybe the easiest question to answer on the Hot Take Show. Did the host elevate the writing, or did the writing elevate the host? And I think in both cases, you had host elevating writing. And I think on that Mother's Day last year, when we were talking about that Goggins episode, we were all just like, oh, wow. Yeah, another episode. This Goggins guy would have been interesting. But yeah, that is a fair take on Colman Domingo. Ajax, I know you sent in some questions right as we were starting off the show. Did you want to ask us those questions, or was there anything else you want to talk about?
So it's kind of like they were kind of in pieces because it's all part of like a bigger question, which is the pre-tapes. Are they having a hard time finding their identity in 51? I find it very odd in that post-PDD world. We've got kind of a little bit of everything, but it's kind of all over the place too at the same time. I wonder, did we ever get an explanation on what happened to the Dan Bulla's midnight matinees?
Not really. I mean, I think if I recall, there was a cut one, right, that ended up online that was from earlier this season. I'm trying to look through my notes right now where, it was Mochi. That was from the Josh O'Connor episode. That one ended up online. I'm going to guess that those are really high budget. So I do wonder if there's just like higher stakes than SNL feels comfortable with, where they have to like really nail it for it to get on. But I thought those were really creative and fun. My guess is, Victoria, that they probably said to themselves, all right, we don't have PDD. We're going to ask Herlihy to create one film for every SNL run. And that'll be that. And then the rest of the spots are sort of open for people to have some fun with: commercials, music videos, whatever happens there. But it has felt like there's no consistent identity compared to what we had prior to this.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, and of course, I feel like that's the natural course that it would take with PDD, who has such a defined voice and style. And, with these pre-tapes, I feel like they're experimenting to try to find, I'm taking it as they're trying to experiment to find what works for them, sans, John and, Martin being there full time these days. So yeah, it's interesting that you pointed that out. And I don't think I caught on to that right away, but being reflective, I definitely see that there's been a highs and lows, brother.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. Ajax, I know you were asking about Brad and his dad also.
Yeah.
That's one that, like, I have to wonder if they're banking those for a time when they didn't need them. I was thinking that the Brad and his dad may have been a good pre-tape to use during the Colman episode, since I think a lot of the cast was out on Thursday night attending the Lorne premiere. So I was like, we're for sure going to get a Brad and his dad this week, which is low stakes. You just have to, the people who are drawing it will obviously be at the studio, and then you just need Mikey and Streeter to do the voices. But yeah, it got cut. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I also think, like I said, like we've got the Jane and Veronica thing. I really think that if we saw more music videos from Jane and Veronica, I think that would be really cool. And then the Martin shorts, The Martin shorts, I think, would be. I don't know. I like some of them, and some of them are. I don't know what his thing is with the Kevin Spacey mentions. I don't. I really. I'm struggling. I like some of them; they're really funny. But then it's like, okay, but what is this exactly? What am I watching? So, yeah, if it definitely feels like 1/3 of PDD. So yeah, I altogether the pre-tapes kind of have me questioning like what's going on. That there's less music videos. Some of them are good, some of them not so much. And then my other kind of half to this question too is I really enjoyed the Yorma interview. It was really cool. I think it was Sammy that asked the question about music, like, hey, are we gonna get another, Lonely Island album? And so my question would be, in these last 3 episodes, what do you think the possibility is of us getting a digital short?
That is a good question. So I didn't know if we were like going to be able to put that in the interview, and I think we got away with it, so I think it was okay. But he was like and there was like 4 or 5 ish people in the background of that interview, so I'm always afraid in those moments someone's going to send me a private message and be like, John, you need to cut this. But it seems like everything was okay, and he answered it in a way where he was like, yes, we're making new music, but no, I can't talk about it. I would love it. I think that the Will Ferrell episode would be very interesting to do that in. I know that there was a big rumor online that the Matt Damon episode was going to be hosted by Andy Samberg. So that never materialized. I don't have any inside information, Ajax, if that helps, but I do think that it's a possibility.
He did seem like he wanted to say something that he stopped himself from saying. So it was very interesting. And so that really had me speculating. Now, the Matt Damon episode is the one I think is the most interesting for a potential digital short. I think I mean, they could easily do something with Matt Damon, just unexpected, and then have a bunch of cameos and stuff. So yeah,
I think if he was there at all during the run of the Lonely Island. So he hosted prior to Andy in the Lonely Island being a cast, and then I think he didn't come back until when did he come back? I have to look at it.
I will say I don't want to say my dream, but I think something that would be cool is if during the Matt Damon episode they did do a pre-tape with Jimmy Kimmel, just given everything going around. And I don't want to quote an ABC sketch here, but like they have some cool stuff that they were doing on the Kimmel show. I don't know. I think it would be a cool.
All right. I do have inside information about that. And I will say that back in the fall when Kimmel was preempted, he was in New York. He was doing shows in Brooklyn. And I think that was the week of the SNL premiere. And I know for a fact that the Kimmel people told Saturday Night Live that he was around in case they wanted to do something with him, and they did not take him up on that opportunity. So I don't think I would be surprised if there was any Kimmel. I don't know why. I mean, that would have been.
Well, it'd probably be like, well, we don't want no smoke.
Yeah, I think honestly, I don't think that Lorne is capitulating to Trump, but I think he maybe just doesn't want to deal with the nonsense. So I do wonder if that's a factor for sure.
Yeah.
But to go back to the Lonely Island thing for just a second, obviously would love to see one of those videos. My theory, Ajax, is that I think they are working on an album. They've been recording music. I'm sure Yorma's injury didn't help with the whole process, and they're all been filming different movie projects. But I assume at some point they are planning to get together to finish this album, which will include Here I Go and Sushi Glory Hole. And when the album is completed, I believe that's when Andy Samberg would probably host the show. And I think that Lorne is like, yeah, sure. You let us know when it's done. We'll get it done probably sometime in season 52. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's when we could definitely start seeing every 3 episodes or so, some more digital shorts of all the tracks. Why not? People are here for it. We're waiting. We're with anticipation. I think that would do really well. So yeah, I'm all about it.
Yeah. And Jim Cat 6795 in the chat with the poll of the night, which I did not remember at all, but that Matt Damon was in the digital short 2 Best Friends with Andy and Katy Perry and Val Kilmer back in the day.
Wow.
2011. Completely forgot that. I don't think they've gone there on the
vague
podcast
memories yet. And that. No, I mean, there you go. So I think that's the one I'm circling in my brain, but what an epic 3 bookings. I mean, we started with Olivia Rodrigo. It's been mentioned already, but she's going to bring in the ratings. Like we'll see ratings that we haven't seen since Ari. And then
Victoria, do you have Ajax?
No.
I think we may have. Do we have you back, Ajax? We lost you for a second.
Am I here?
Yes, we got you back. Can you hear us? Okay.
I've got a storm going on outside, so apologies.
No worries, you're good. So you were saying that Olivia Rodrigo with the ratings, and then you were about to get to Matt Damon, and we lost you.
Oh yeah, and I think Noah Khan is the one more so than Matt Damon that's going to bring in the ratings for that show, and then of course Will Ferrell and Paul McCartney. Like, are you kidding me? Like that's unreal. What an unreal booking! I'm so excited.
Yeah, it should be really great. I think right now, I mean, this is very clinical, but the ratings for the season, we're averaging linear. So this is 24 hours. This is live and 24 hours after. The show is averaging 4.39 million per episode, which is slightly down from last year, but that's to be expected because last year was the 50th. So last year was about a 4.69. It is slightly up from 2 years ago. So compared to the season 49, which is 4.31, it is definitely up from season 48, which is 4.24. So, I would say they'd be pretty happy with the ratings, which I think the average would likely increase given the bookings in May. I would not be surprised if at the end we're looking at least a 4.4 something for the season, which I think they would all be very thrilled about.
Nice.
Yeah, so should be very good. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to in May?
I mean, there's little things that go across my mind. Like I couldn't even imagine like a Roxbury dad sketch where Will brings in Catan, and then we've got like Tommy and Marcello being, their sons or something, like something goofy like that would just be. Then I'm like, okay, how can we do Roxbury guys in 2026? I don't know how that would fly. So I don't know. My brain goes to weird places when we start thinking about that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to all the surprises and all the great writing we can get out of all these ideas.
I think that's a great idea, and you should put it out into the ether.
Okay, Tommy and Marcello, the sons of the Roxbury guys. Okay, let's see what happens.
Yes.
Yeah, what a way for Tommy to go out after being at a Roxbury. But yeah, I don't think I would be. I think the two people that I do not expect Will Ferrell to collaborate with on the 16th are Chris Kattan and Sherry O'Terry. I think that they're, it would be very fun to get that, but he's never gone back to that well in a very long time. It feels like he's moved past that at this point. So that would be like the surprise of all surprises if we got something to that effect.
Well, and I do want to say before I get out of here, the UK SNL UK just continues to surprise me, and I love everything about it. I love Patty and Anya at Update. I mean, what a great two anchors. I mean, whoever made that decision to put them together, I mean, I think they're awesome. I love Patty's brooding snarl and his pause at the end. I heard you guys talking about the Patty pause. Also, he does something there at the end of his punchlines that they're a great hook. And then Anya, she's got this great smile, and her delivery is excellent too. So I think they complement each other really, really well. And it took me a while to figure out who Celeste reminded me of. She kept reminding me of somebody, and it finally hit me. Amy Ryan as Holly Flax on The Office US.
Ooh.
So I'm sorry if no one can unsee that again, but that's who Celeste reminds me of in everything. Now I'm looking back, I'm like, that's Holly Flax. That is crazy.
That's so interesting, especially if we ever get a Steve Carell on SNL UK.
There you
just
go.
the combo there. But maybe we'll get Ricky Gervais first. But yeah, that is a fascinating pull. All right, I'm going to think about that one as we continue to monitor the UK show. But I agree with you. The Patty and Anya thing has been really fun. And I know you're a big sports guy as well. To me, there's like, when you go to a basketball, arena, and then outside they have like a statue of somebody and they're like doing their specific move as they're going to the net. It does feel to me like Patty has a signature move that is just like with his face after he tells a joke that cannot be replicated.
He kind of moves back and he like just gives a pose, like something with his. It's just like a brooding, like snarl or something.
He goes a lot to like he'll say something and then he'll be very disappointed in what he just said, and he'll just like look down for like a minute.
It's great. I love the body language. It's good stuff.
Yeah, Victoria, we're gonna jump in on something.
I was gonna say that's a great analogy.
Yeah, I wish we could have that. I mean, that to me, there should be outside of 30. I know New York is a very busy city, but outside of 30 Rock, it would be great if we could have some sort of recognition for the all-timers.
And it's just a statue of you. Oh, what?
I'm good. I can pass on that. Ajax, thank you so much for joining us here today. Always great to catch up with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Nice
Nice
meeting
to
you.
meet you.
Bye. All right,
How
Victoria, let's bring
fun.
in. Yeah, hey, the best. Love everybody who's been with us
Yeah.
tonight. Let's bring in our friend Victor's with us now. Victor, what's up, man?
Hey everybody, great to be here yet again. Just
You doing okay?
yeah, I'm doing good. If you can't tell, I'm very sick right now, but I'm good. I'm nothing gonna stop me from being here. So yeah,
Wow,
great to be here.
that's
And great to
dedication.
be
How was your
yes.
family trip, Victor? I heard you were on a trip.
Oh yes, it was very unexpected. A lot of like craziness that happened. Yeah, I had to be away from my phone, so like I felt like I was on Big Brother, John, in a way, just like being
Okay.
like isolated in a way. So like
Yeah.
I let to like have a positive thing I could say for it there. But yeah, great to see you, John. Great to see my female counterpart, Victoria, Queen Victoria. Say that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you. I don't think I've ever seen your face. I've seen your name a lot, so it's great to meet you.
Yes, I am not Mark McKinney, unfortunately. But like, hey.
No. And Victor, even though you're sick, you still got a lot of swagger, so I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so great. So how have the April shows been for you, Victor?
They've been pretty fun. Trying to think here. First was
Any favorite moments? You got Jack Black, Colman Domingo,
Yeah,
and then
okay.
in the UK, you got
Jack-
Riz Ahmed, Jack Whitehall, and Nicola Coughlan.
Okay, so for Jack Black, I actually kind of have the hot take of like I thought his episode was better than season 50 because I believe I said before that I wasn't too fond of that episode, which I know itself is a hot take, but I thought like it was very fun, like a very energetic cold open as we always expect with Jack Black and Colman Domingo. I was intrigued by him and a lot of fun stuff. Because even though I believe the two of you and Bill Kennedy wasn't really fond of, I believe that classroom sketch was like. I actually personally really enjoyed that because I just kept going back to Cam, like, oh, that like sexy 8. Like, I thought that was a very, very funny. And I haven't got to check out Nicola Coughlan's episode of UK yet, but like the UK just in general has been very fire. And once I know that the episode was probably awesome because I've been enjoying UK a lot. So yeah, it's been baller. And yeah, can't wait to see how May goes for SNL.
Yeah, Cam, I think, said this.
This might get me in trouble, but I think I'm attracted to 8. It's got that itty bitty waist with that thing down below.
Yeah, that was yeah. We need more Cam on the show. It's fantastic. But those are some great takes, Victor. I really loved hearing all that. Do you have any questions for Victoria or I?
I did not because that trip was crazy. I lost my mind there, but I'm back. So let's just go to the mailbag.
Let's go to the mailbag. That's what we have these questions sent in for us for. So this one comes from Mason, who says, we're seeing some great standouts on the SNL cast. Looking ahead, what voices do you think are missing on the cast right now? What comedic styles should they be looking for next season? Of course, besides you, Victoria.
Thank you. No, I was gonna say me, number one. But in all seriousness, this is a great question. I would think the first being like sharp cultural satire, maybe even some, queer coded specificity. Bo and Yang brought a very specific, culturally fluent, internet aware, and often, unexpectedly emotional vibe to the show. And I think that lane isn't automatically replaced just because you brought in a few young folks. I think they would benefit from another writer performer with a similarly specific worldview. Obviously not a clone, but something similar. This something else, not new and not, nothing that no one else has said before, but, bringing in Black women and other women of color character voices. I think post Ego and Punky, etc., but like Ego specifically had range, political roles, recurring characters, those update desk pieces, a lot of utility work, and losing that versatility, I think, creates a major opening. And then I would say physical comedians. I don't think there's an obvious Chris Farley, Molly Shannon, Will Ferrell-esque full body chaos performer on the show, and I would love to see some of that. Again.
Those are all some really good ideas. Victor, what do you think?
Pretty much everything Victoria said. Just like yeah, and on next, I know, but yeah, just any type of performer, I think is great. Just like performers that are actually great to get onto the show, because like we always talk about having a Black woman on the cast, and while I definitely think that I think like any type of diversity is great, but for me at least, I'm always like I need to see like if you're talented and a good fit for the show rather than what color or like whatever you are, because that's just what matters to me the most personally. And so like having someone again from that improv background, or maybe someone that could bring like that has that experience with some bring like a new flair, kind of like Will Forte, or I'm trying to think of some other people that were like improv people would like still have like a unique sensibility. I guess Chloe Trost was kind of like that in a way, but like look where we are now. But like so yeah, like just those type of performance I think would do best for the show, of course.
Yeah, and I think this is sorry, John. This is exactly when like that Second City, Groundlings, alt comedy pipeline folks tend to break through. When a cast loses multiple distinct veteran voices at once, it kind of creates that rare opening for someone with a very defined comedic identity.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like the show. Okay, I'll tell you one thing I think that they could use, and then one thing I don't want to see next year. So, number one, I think that if I was going to pull anything from SNL UK as like a type of performer I would like to see on SNL US, I think Annabelle Marlowe is really interesting to me, where she's very Gen Z, but she has this energy about her where she can be like really emotive in the way that she delivers lines, and then go from 0 to 100 in energy that I think that the show could really use right now. So to me, I sort of think that she's everything that the show wanted Chloe Fineman to be, that she's not. So that to me is that a harsh take? But I kind of just feel like that's where.
No, it's fine. At this point, I think any Chloe criticism is going to happen. So be with John.
Yeah, I'm just
be your non-Canadian self.
I just, you know what, I gotta say it how it is. But that's I kind of feel like she's the one that I think the show, if the SNL US suits are watching, they would watch and be like, that's really interesting. Obviously, like there's other great performers over there, Jack and 4 Acres and Emma. Like there's a lot of great ones, but I do think the Annabelle Marlowe type is the most easily replicable in the United States to find, and I feel that like the show is maybe missing that a little bit. Here's something I don't want to see next year is I don't need any more stand-ups on the show. Like there's no place for them. There's no Weekend Update opening. They don't use them to deliver stand-up in a monologue. It's always really awkward. They never get enough runway. To me, it's like bringing a really good chef to eat with at a restaurant. You're going to be like sitting there and then you can't even, like they're not even cooking the food. They're just talking about the food. Like to me, it's not the right use of the people. So I don't know why we need to go back to the well. Are you snapping because this is a good take, Victoria?
Yes. I'm being youthful.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
that's very Gen Z coded. It's very Gen Z coded. But I think they just try just because like you never know. Because like, hey, Marcelo was a stand-up, and yet here he is. So and he's still doing pretty decent on the show. So like you never know. Dana probably the most successful stand-up in SNL history and one of the all-time greats. So they still like to try, and I don't blame them. But like I definitely see what you're saying, John.
To be clear, I'm not saying never have stand-ups on the show. I'm just saying we try this every year, and there's always so many of them, and they never turn into anything lately. So if the show can't figure out how to use them, then why have them right now? And maybe they'll strike gold with one of them. Like Marcelo, I think they probably viewed as a little bit of sort of like a TikTok / stand-up, but. Mm-hmm. So like, and that was kind of the thing they had going. James Austin Johnson certainly is a stand-up, but he's also a great impressionist. I just think like
Sarah.
you also need to have other qualities that you're bringing to the show beyond the fact that you could just do some pretty good stand-up.
And somewhat, not to be fully biased, but I'm just, in the spirit of transparency, as someone who has that Second City background, I mean, I've never been on the main stage cast or anything like that, but I've been around the block when it comes to Second City and, currently at Go Comedy in Detroit. But something that, Saturday Night Live is on a stage, it's in a live audience. And I think that's where those like the Second City Groundlings folks benefit, because they have this, like, they perform in a cast, and there's like a more improv folks know how to take care of each other a little bit more than stand-up. Like stand-up, I mean, not to discredit stand-ups at all. They have a very hard job of making people laugh on their own. But I just think there's that, performing with others and those gift giving and, that theater energy that I would like to see more of. Like, they are in a live audience, and that theater experience really does benefit them on the show.
Certainly. I do think you need a blend. Like, there's always the danger of getting too theatery, which I think maybe happened a little bit in the 2010s. But I think that, like, you want to have a good mix and then try and put everything together. And like, I think that the thing is, if you're gonna have a stand-up on the cast, then you need to use them kind of like a Pete or a Leslie, where you're gonna bring them onto the update desk pretty often. And they haven't really been doing that lately. Even with Longfellow, you can say he was way underused compared to how great of a stand-up he is. Tommy, you would have thought, would have been at the desk a bunch of times this season. And he came on at the beginning of the season, and then we haven't seen him since. So, like, it's confusing to me.
Yeah, it feels like it's a pendulum when it doesn't need to be a pendulum. Like, you don't need to hire a bunch of stand-ups, and then you don't need to hire a bunch of theater folks. Like, it needs to, I don't know, it just feels like, all right, they hire a bunch and then it swings to the theater kids. But I feel like you said, it should just be a blend of folks. Like, each type of performer brings something very unique to the table, and we need all of it.
Right. Yeah, and then like Victor, the most successful performers this season, like, think about Jeremy from Dropout. Like, that's like a really good, new, cool way to find a cast member. Like, that's something I would look into more.
Yeah, and again, I'm not against stand-ups at all, because I feel like the show always kind of leans to, like, samey with its performance in both stand-ups and kind of in, like, the Groundling, Second City, UCB, those types of people as well. Because, like, just a nice mix of different personalities bringing onto the show, I think, makes the show more fresh and creates a lot of excitement for the show.
Yeah, for sure. So, that's overall my take is, hey, if you're gonna hire a stand-up next year, let's use them differently. Or they have to have, like, a significantly long runway where they could really figure out how to find their way on the show, and you sort of have to deal with the bad. I think that's the problem, is, like, the show doesn't want to necessarily force people like Tommy or Cam into situations where their sketches don't hit, because then they're afraid that people are going to, like, pile on them. But my thing is, I think that the smart SNL viewers know that, like, let's say we watched a Tommy or a Cam sketch, like, really one that was centered around them, and they were still, like, things that they weren't fully accomplishing, maybe we would give them a little bit more runway than we would some of the other people. So yeah, it's just an interesting thing to think about. Victor, anything else you got for us?
No, my brain is fried, y'all. I'm sweating, I'm coughing, I'm doing it all, but I'm still alive.
Okay, well, you're gonna get through this. Just drink a lot of fluids, and you will be back to normal soon. But you got to love it. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being here and joining us on the show tonight. You sounded great, and we'll enjoy this last month of SNL together. Always great seeing your thoughts in the chat.
Of course, yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
It's
always
Victor.
Great to be in the chat, and have a good one.
It's so great to meet you.
Great to meet you as well.
Oh,
thanks, Victor.
That's my pal.
Yes, love Victor. Happy to have him on the show here. All right, we got a great duo coming in next for this portion of the show. So let's bring in our friend Deej is here. Deej, how are you?
Oh, in the words of the arrogant worms, I have a car full of pain right now.
Oh, no.
Yes, things are just going disastrous with that. But I have SNL UK, which is making me laugh. So, and more SNL to look forward to. So I just had a moment where everything that could go wrong, and then my car broke down. So,
Oh no!
no.
All right, well,
it's better now.
let's spend these next 15 minutes talking about something nice, so we can distract you from your troubles. And let's bring in our friend Matt, who's going to join us as well. Matt, what's up, buddy?
Hey, John, Victoria, Deesh. Good to see all of you. Yeah.
Nice to meet you
Nice
both.
to be here.
How's
Nice
your
to meet you
car?
too. Car's fine so far.
Okay, good.
So far, so good.
We're gonna keep it that way. But great to see you, and happy to have you on the show.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Matt, anything on your mind that you want to talk to Victoria or I about?
Yeah, I mean, the shows have been pretty good. The Jack Black obviously, is great. Every time you can't really miss with him. I actually think the Colman Domingo episode and the Nicola Coughlan episode really could have been switched. I actually think that they could have used Colman Domingo's one was weird enough to be a UK episode, and Nicola Coughlan's was more US coded to be a US episode. It was kind of weird like that, but they're both fine. They're both good.
What was your take on Jimmy Fallon's involvement in the Nicola episode? Did you feel like we needed it?
I thought it was good for Weekend Update. I didn't think they needed him the other two times. I certainly don't think they needed him in the rap thing that he did. I think they could have had George or Ahmed or somebody do that part. They didn't need. I don't think they needed Jimmy for that. The monologue, okay, fine, whatever. But I think he was fine for the hand in hand thing. I think that worked well in terms of kind of with the two of them bringing in a guy who was a Weekend Update anchor and doing all that stuff. I thought that was a good use of him there, at least.
I'm with you. I felt like that was the right move for him as well. Victoria.
I would say, I think it's interesting that you said that the Nicola episode, I mean, we heard Max on earlier saying that the Nicola episode felt very American. And so I think they probably brought Jimmy Fallon on because there was that Variety article that stated that the ratings were dropping for SNL UK, and maybe that was their way to help boost. But I thought it was a fun monologue, and I don't know, he's just a silly boy.
No, it was a fun monologue. I mean, I think that
do?
With there being no US version this week, maybe they thought, oh, there's going to be a lot more US people watching, and they would kind of go with that, and maybe that's why they did a more it wasn't really a US version, but it was a bunch of things that I think the US audience would get.
Yeah.
I think so. I think also maybe, some people from the US show attended the UK show. So Jimmy got to hang out with them. And then also Dave Grohl was there. So it kind of felt like, all right, there's a big American presence invading the UK show this week. Are you caught up on SNL UK? Did you get to catch Jimmy Fallon on there?
Oh, no. I can definitely catch SNL UK because it's thanks to CTV Comedy.
True.
Because I get it. It's right. Yeah, I can't speak. So I get a 15-minute break between SNL UK and regular SNL because of the timing of it. So I've been very busy on those loaded UK nights, but I've been loving it, SNL UK ever since the start. I didn't mind Jimmy Fallon there. He did some very good. It was in context, and I will defend him being in the song because he did have that one great moment in Let's Do It in My Twin Bed. So he has done this before.
Yes.
That's one of my favorites.
Yes.
Yeah, that is very true. He was hosting that night though, so it sort of feels right? Yeah, I think that was he was Christmas show. So it does feel more natural. I think if I was to call up our friend Rich Tackenberg and be like, how do you feel about Jimmy's performances in this episode? He would be like, the rule of cameos makes no sense. There was no surprise. I think that it was fun, but I also believe he would have gotten a much bigger reception in Weekend Update had he just took that break between the monologue and update and not popped up in the sketch right after the monologue, which was also weird because they treated it like a surprise where Nicola said, the Keith from catering is here, and who's Keith? And then he was there, and there should have been a big surprise from the audience, but we'd already just seen him 2 minutes earlier. It's very weird. Deej, do you have anything on your mind you want to talk about?
Yes, because one thing I found very interesting when SNL UK started, I was first surprised that it was on Crave on n/CTV, which is the Chorus, which is Chorus, and for many years that SNL has been on Global, which I believe is, I think it's Global anyway.
Yeah,
but then there's a recent announcement that starting next season, SNL is moving from Global to CTV/Crave. What Crave has done recently is we used to have a Crave app and a CTV app. Now they've amalgamated all into Crave. So they will have a tier that you can just watch stuff on the broadcast and stuff. I like that they're able to bring the SNL UK over here. It's just a very surprising move that after all these years that it's just making the move to Crave and all the different changes that Crave has been making has been it makes you wonder, are they going to have like an archive like they have at Peacock? Because on Global, they only have like the last 3 seasons available online.
So last week I was in Toronto for a couple of days during the off week where I went to there's a podcast that I've listened to for a very long time that I support. It's called Rob Has a Podcast. It's a big reality TV podcast, and they do these live events that are so cool where they watch an episode of Survivor and they do an after show and they like do these events in person, and it's something that I would really love to do for SNL one day. So I'm hoping to put those logistics together where we can all meet and hang out in person perhaps next season. So, but yeah, I got to talk to a lot of people because I was in Toronto about, Crave and Chorus and like all of these like networks and what's exactly happening here. And apparently like Global and the parent company, they aren't doing as great as Crave, who's really pushing for American content. And I think with them seeing how well SNL UK was doing, they then pushed to get SNL US. So I think that that's part of it, Deej. And then I would, I don't know about the archive. I think that we're probably going to get some of that there. I would think that they are really going to push for some old episodes. But the major question that we've asked SNL PR, which we haven't gotten an official answer on yet, and I'm hoping we will get sometime over the summer, is will SNL sketches on YouTube be geo-blocked from now on? Because that's been a huge problem for Canadians in that if I, I'll use a VPN for a lot of stuff, but if I'm not, and I'm connected from my home and I saw a sketch last night on SNL and I want to send it to a friend, I can't do that technically. I actually have to send the whole episode over. Whereas Matt, Victoria, you guys in the States, you guys can just send sketches to your friends whenever you want from YouTube, and that's fine. But for some reason, we're geo-blocked in Canada.
US. Wow. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Well, one thing Crave has had for a while, they have had all the Fiend specials available on there. And so it's just looking forward to see what they do with it. Because Crave for a long time has been basically the HBO portal for Canada, as well as Starz and a lot of the other specialty networks. So it's just, I'm very fascinated with the TV industry itself. And just seeing all these little behind the scenes moves, but at least they brought us SNL UK, which has been an absolute blessing. And quick mention.
Well, I just want to say quickly, Deej, before you jump on to something else. I think the shows know that the consumers watch the shows differently than they used to. There's a globalification of the show, not the network, but the actual ability for people around the world to watch it. So they're just trying to find new ways to have people access the show in the way that they actually do watch it and consume it now.
Yeah, well, I was going to mention, I'm not sure if we'll get Anna guest star on the Will Ferrell episode because she is in New York. She's currently in Smigadoon. They've taken Smigadoon from TV and they've made it into a full blown Broadway musical.
Yeah. Which is Cecily Strong, right? So she's
but she's not in this. But Anna Gasteyer is taking the Kristen Chenoweth role in this, and it's from clips I've seen, it's very funny. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though if she's in New York, that if they wanted to do a Culps sketch, they could bring her in for something like that. I would assume we're gonna get some old Will Ferrell character. The question is like, what has Will never brought back from his time at the show that would be fun to see again? Of course, there's the fact that, the Roxbury guys, the Sherry O'Terry stuff, like those are the things I don't expect to see just because of the partnership. I think But if, like, hypothetically, if, you know, Matt, if we saw a cheerleader sketch, I think that would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean, can they? I don't know if they could be cheerleader. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's been 30 years since they started doing the cheerleaders. I don't know.
You think it would be weird to see?
It would be a little weird. I think maybe a
cheerleaders or
little weird.
whatever?
Maybe they have a whole sketch about that. Maybe, I don't know. It's an interesting option. I don't know. But yeah.
Can I throw out Dog Show as a possibility with him and Molly Shannon?
Okay, I like that one. Yeah.
Had they brought back Jeffries?
They have never brought back Jeffries. That was him and Fallon, I think, right?
Fallon and Sean. Yes. They brought it back. They did. Sean Hayes and Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, and I think there was one more. I think Sean William Scott, I think they did that with as well. The episode after the 9/11 episode, I think they brought that back. But yeah, I think that was like Fallon, Horatio, and Will. So Fallon could certainly come in for something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The other one I maybe would like to see, just a crazy Will Ferrell pull, would be he used to do this like Terrence Maddox character in a sketch. I don't know if you guys remember this one, but he was a nude life model where there would be people in an art class and he would come in like all naked and you have this like really long hair and he would just be asking people to paint him. I think that would be a great one.
There could be potential for The Lovers, because also on Broadway is Rachel Dratch as the narrator in the current production of the Rocky Horror Show.
That is a great.
So they're definitely in New York. So if either of those ladies can get their understudies to take over for the night.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen The Lovers since 2003. I think he came back for a cameo and did that one, but we really haven't seen that in a really long time. So
can he put Paul McCartney in that one?
I mean, that would be fun. Yeah, I think all the possibilities are open for what we'll see in May. Yeah, Matt, what are you most looking forward to in this final run?
I'm looking forward to all of them personally. Overall, SNL 51 has been awesome this year. Without the burdens of SNL 50 being the big anniversary year, except for maybe 2 episodes, it's been great episode after another. So I have no reason to expect that the last 3 will be absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, Matt, what about you? Anything you're looking forward to in this final 3?
Yeah, I mean, Olivia Rodrigo has the acting chops already. I mean, she's been an actress since for the last 10 years or so, it seems. So she'll be fine. I think she'll be really good and do that. I don't know about Matt Damon, but he's done the show before, so I'm sure he'll be good. And then, I mean, gosh, you can't ask for more with Will Ferrell and Paul McCartney together on that show and what they might be able to do for that. So that should be just fantastic. I don't expect any this person's leaving or anything like that. I don't think. I'm at least not going into the episode, this person's gonna leave or something like that. I don't expect that, but maybe. But I don't see it, especially with Bowen leaving in December. I don't see that happen now, but just having Will there, I mean, it just is amazing. So it should be a fun episode.
Can I throw out one more question for the two of you, which is, and Victoria as well, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
But do you think that Sarah Sherman will make an appearance on SNL UK this weekend in maybe some sort of pre-taped form, with Amy Lou Wood hosting the show and Sarah having played her in the White POTUS sketch? And there was a lot of controversy about that.
Ooh, well, I think they've made up since then, because I know she actually apologized to her as well. So, anything's possible with SNL UK. You never know what. That's the great thing about it is there's some traditional elements of SNL to it, but there's still little bits like you wouldn't get 45 seconds of 4 acres in the US version. Yeah. And I just absolutely love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they want to bring it up and make it another thing, but because I think they kind of Sarah said her piece afterwards and kind of, buried that hatchet with her, I think. So I don't know if they really want to call attention to it again, but maybe. I mean, it could be something where the two of them are there. She does her impression of her in front of her, which would be kind of weird, but I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm so curious though, because it's not that Amy Lou Wood doesn't have the career or the accolades to host SNL UK, but is there not a chance that if the whole controversy didn't happen, that they never would have booked her for SNL? Like in the alternate universe where this whole thing didn't happen, did she get booked for SNL UK? Because maybe the attention of like her and SNL together sort of led to the perfect marriage of them putting her on the show this weekend. Am I being too conspiratorial as usual?
What else? Well, what else has she
Maybe a
done?
little.
Yeah, what else has she done other than White Lotus? I mean, White Lotus is a big show, so it's not like she's a complete unknown.
But it was last year, right? It was like not like it's not like she's in a White Lotus season that just aired. Like it finished airing over a year ago.
She must be in something now, right? I'm sure she's in. So I don't know. But
there like it's
what's Film Club? Because that's what that was in the press release. It says White Lotus and Film Club. So let's see what that is. Because if that's not from right now, Film Club is a comedy series that premiered last October on BBC Three, which I didn't know that there was a BBC Three.
Yep.
So yeah, written by Amy Lou Wood. All right, so yeah, I guess she is promoting a British comedy right now. I didn't know that.
I thought she was in a new movie with Angelina Jolie.
Okay, all right. Well,
it's coming up.
Yeah. So all three of your takes are that there will be no Sarah Sherman appearance or references this weekend on us.
I didn't say that.
I don't think so. I would, if I'm going to put money in, is Kalshi, do they have a bet for this? I don't know if they do, but if they, yeah, I know. But if they do, I would probably say no. That's my guess.
Yeah, it's possible, maybe not probable.
I agree.
Well, I mentioned earlier there's that Variety article about the ratings going down. This is one way to get those ratings up. So I would like to see it. Not maybe as like a guest in her monologue or something like that. But if they did do something together, I don't think it would be any sort of impressions of her. I think it would just be a nice bit that they did together. Something
they
original.
haven't had a current cast member guest on the UK yet. I don't think.
No.
So yeah,
but it would open up the possibility. So I mean,
not
if you
yet.
want to really
not yet
open up the whole. I mean, there should be some sort of contraption on the SNL US and SNL UK stages that will transport somebody from one stage to another stage, and I do think that all the possibilities are open this weekend if we do that. Matt, thank you so much for joining us here today. I really appreciate your questions and love the energy, enthusiasm.
Thanks, folks. Appreciate it.
Always good to have you. And Deej, sorry to hear about all the car trouble and everything going on, but always great to have some fun with you.
Yep.
What's going on with you?
Well, as we say at the end of Saturday Night Ladies, although the world may seem pretty bleak, you still have to go out and go forth and find the funny. And that's what SNL is for. And speaking of which, after I'm done here, I'll be editing our latest episode where we're going to talk about the ladies of SNL UK and our first impressions of that.
Cool.
And then following for recording on Wednesday is our next Sweetheart Hater episode, where we're switching between season 33 of SNL and Documentary Now. So we're just on the last of the two-parter season of the Blue Jean Committee, talking about that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, to get the other ladies on Saturday after this latest episode. So it's
amazing.
I love my shows. I love my ladies. I love Casey. Wacky Notion Productions. We're awesome.
Great job. Keep it up, and looking forward to checking all that out. So thank you, Matt, and thank you, Deej, for joining us here. All right, Victoria, we got one more patron joining us here tonight, and I would say he's our man on the street, but this time looks like he's coming to us from his home. So Jared, how are you?
That is correct. I am currently in my apartment, though the French Quarter was a lot of fun. I will say that.
Yeah, definitely a unique entrance you made last time.
Yeah, I debated doing this one at the beach, but nah, it's more comfortable here.
All right, sounds good. Well, how are you, buddy? How was your April?
I'm overall, I'm feeling good. I know Victor and Deej aren't feeling great, so they get fevers. I got a cowbell for them.
Thanks.
They need more cowbell. I can provide.
I love a good bit
for that. I saw two former SNL cast members perform recently. Melissa Villasenor, who's awesome and currently on tour and maybe one of the nicest people ever, and Finesse Mitchell, going back a little bit. He just performed in Miami.
Oh, wow.
So, great dude. Yeah. Overall, I'm really enjoying the current season with the Jack Black Bolt of Lightning and the Jack Black, Jack White combo. Called that a year ago. That's the last time I'll bring that up, but I did. And the weirdness of Colman Domingo. And now you got SNL UK also, because it's like me going to the gas station here and getting a Kit Kat, and then me flying to Toronto and getting a Kit Kat. They taste different, but they're both Kit Kats, and they're both very good.
I love the analogy. That is true. They have both been very good, and we're very lucky to have everything that we've been getting over the last month. Jared, do you have any questions for Victoria or I?
Yeah, I do. I guess one short question, one long question. Who wrote your theme to Saturday Night Network, or who sings on your theme?
Oh yeah, it's this guy Will, who originally wrote the theme, and it was an SNL Stats theme from back in the day. I'm not sure if you were with us from the SNL Stats days, but we used to talk about. I'm trying to remember the difference in the lyrics. We changed a couple things over time, but his name was Will, and then we originally, I think we used like the season 6 theme music for the first few months. Anyways, Will wrote the theme and then sung on the theme. And then James Stevens took the theme, and he works at a company called Music for All. They're a music education, and they work with a lot of like bands, and I'm going to butcher this, but basically he works with a lot of like kids and band teachers and music educators. And he had a group of people who have been recording music for all their stuff. And I think he had a woman, I don't remember her exact name now, so sorry, but she re-recorded the theme with new lyrics for when we switched to SNL Stats to the SNL Network and eventually the Saturday Night Network. And I believe he worked on it with her, and then they sent it back to us.
Gotcha. My guess was going to be either Rebecca North or Amanda Barkin, based on.
Oh, sorry. None of the current podcasters will say that. And yes, Victor's asking if it was Will from America. Yes, it was Will from America who wrote the original theme to this one. He is known for writing a lot of like podcast themes for some other podcasts as well, and he contributed and put this one together.
It's quite awesome and a good energizing theme, and always get excited for your yes every time.
Thanks. You're not gonna, and people don't get tired of that. I'm always like, should I switch it up? It's
no,
like a signature.
No, don't switch it up. I guess one other question from the John list: was there ever any consideration to making Streeter Seidel a cast member?
That is a great question. I don't know that he's ever wanted to be a cast member. I think that he always just wanted to write for the show. He had such like a prolific background in writing sketch, and I think that him and Mikey made such a great team together that Mikey didn't necessarily want to be a cast member in the first place either. He was really great on screen, but they started like putting him in bit roles, and I think they felt he was pretty green. And then they tried him out in Maya and Marty, and they were like, all right, like we could see this, and gave him that test run and then put him on the show, and it really fit. But as far as I know, I don't think that Streeter's ever wanted to be on screen. He is a really great guy though. Super nice. Is somebody that as he's become the head writer of the show has been a little harder to pin down, but I would love to have him on the show one day and get to talk to him, because he really gets what the fans of the show want from the show. And that's not to take away anything from Allison Gates or Ken Sublette, who I think are really strong in their own ways. But I do feel like Streeter is like a man of the people. So I really support having him there in that head writer role.
He's pretty, yeah. I like his the rundown he did with Mikey recently during one of the off weeks. You get to
they're
see that.
So funny together.
Yeah.
They're really great. And also, I think the other thing that's been really cool about SNL UK, Jared, is that they kind of do the thing that SNL US did in the 70s, where they use all of their writers as extras.
Oh.
And they're in a lot of the sketches as background performers. Like Bella Hall, who does the announcing for SNL UK, I think she's been like 10 sketches this season. So I do wish SNL did that more. There was this like fun feeling in the 70s of when you saw like, oh wow, like that's Jim Downey, like he's in a sketch. Like, okay, Franken and Davis are at the bar, like in a random sketch. I feel like it could be fun to use the writers a little bit more beyond just the occasional weekend update, not weekend update, monologue appearance like we had with Kira O'Sullivan last episode. So that would be kind of fun. Victoria, I'm sure you'd like that.
Oh, I would. Absolutely. I think, well, also, I do want to go back to Mikey Day really quickly. I need to plug this. So I knew Mikey Day pre-Wild and Out days. In fact, I knew him from David Blaine's Street Magic parodies. Just going to encourage everyone to do a Google of that. And every time I do see Mikey Day, I just yell Cheez-Its at him. And he's like, I've not heard that in a long time. So if you know, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Yeah.
I'm sure he's flattered. Yeah, I'm sure he's flattered by the reference.
What the F? Yeah. That was for him.
Sure. Jared, did you have anything else you want to ask us, or would you like to help answer some questions?
Sure. Let's go for some questions. I enjoy me some mailbag.
Sure. All right. Let's take this one from Town J93. What do you think about Veronica and Tommy being future Weekend Update hosts?
It's an interesting concept. I think it could work, but there's no sign that Jost and
Oh, we lost Jared. I think that the ghost of the question asker got him. Didn't like the answer. Victoria, do you want to answer in the meantime? Hopefully he'll come back.
Yeah. Well, I hope they don't kick me off because I'm about to say the same thing. I really like when they pull writers on to Weekend Update as opposed to cast members. Something about it just fits better. Hi.
Yeah, I was about to give such an epic response, and it was so epic my internet gave out. So we have that. So Victoria, since you're going and you're answering, continue with yours.
Yeah, I was just gonna. I'll keep it simple. I would steer away from that. I think they are great, character cast members. I think for Weekend Update, I really do love when they pull from the writers that they have and plot them on that desk.
Jared, what do you think? Let's hear your epic answer.
So it's to make, okay, so the question was whether to make Tommy and Veronica the successors to Che and Jost?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's being inspired by Anya and Patty with their dynamic. Though Patty is I would say Patty's a bit different than Veronica. I think you're probably gonna have a whole episode devoted to who should follow Che and Jost whenever they decide to go. I think it'd be a good combination, but I think it'd still be worthwhile to screen test everyone for that. I could see it though.
I don't know. It feels a little bit of a stretch for me. I think there's nothing that I've seen from Tommy that would make me feel like, okay, he could for sure do this, besides the fact that he's a stand-up. And I feel like stand-ups are just natural fits for something like that. I mean, I think Veronica would be very fun in the role, but I feel like there's so many people that you could imagine on the desk. It feels like they would not necessarily be top of list. And also, if you're going to make, I'll hold on to this forever. If you were hypothetically to make Tommy the Weekend Update anchor next year, why didn't you keep Longfellow for another year or two to get that role eventually? That would be odd to me. But
it's a very good point. Yeah, because we definitely could have seen Longfellow inherit that role.
Yes.
I don't think it would happen. To go back to one other episode thing, I thought it was really unfortunate that Veronica had the chili sketch cut, because she really shines in that and just is full of energy and doing almost Adam Sandler like gibberish, which that takes talents to be able to do gibberish acting. So I'm happy that got posted online, but hopefully it goes toward the let's keep Veronica next year.
I think she's fine. For
Mhm.
sure. I would be stunned if they got rid of her. I do think I didn't love the Chili sketch maybe as much as you did. I'm glad that I got to see it though, because I know that she's been trying to get it on the air. But I do think that if you're going to mumble like that, and that's going to be the character that you're going to bring to the show, you do require a lot of audience buy-in. I do talk about this a lot, that I think that there's an equity that you build with the audience as you continue to grow and get bigger and better on the show. And I think that Veronica in her first season, like for her to pull off a character that's that difficult, I think you really need to have the entire audience just being like, oh yeah, this is a Veronica sketch. I'm so excited to see this, for them to then be totally on board with what's happening there. And if not, it might die. So that I think is part of the problem, is that she tried something. She tried like a Black Diamond sketch to be, make a skiing analogy. And I think that she maybe like needed to go on a little bit of an easier path to get some more things on during her first season. But I love the effort, at least. All right, let's take this one from Nick, who said SNL UK is doing well on the 4 female and 5 male cast members side outside of Weekend Update. So if SNL had to restrict itself to this, who would you choose? Nick said Sarah, Ashley, Jane, and Veronica would be his 4. So that would be 4 out of 5 there. That would be cutting Chloe. And then Jeremy, James, Marcelo, Andrew, and Keenan would be his 5 male cast members. So a little bit tough to name 9 on the spot, Victoria, but if there is a solid group that you feel like you would move forward with, who would that be?
This is giving me acid reflux. One, I mean, I would have to only cut one woman. Okay, no one be mad at me, please. Don't be mad at me. I'm gonna go with Ashley, Sarah, Veronica, Chloe. Don't be mad at me. Please, please.
No, you're
please.
good. Go.
Please. Jared, I know you're an Ohio fan.
Revolt.
I know Jared's an Ohio fan, so we're already beefing a little bit. But for the dudes, this one's tough because there are more. Marcelo for sure. Keenan, I just feel like not the time to cut Keenan. I think I'm going to pull Jeremy. I think I'm going to pull Ben. And for that last one, it's going to be between Mikey or JAJ. I'm not sure. They can duke it out.
All right, Jared, you got to take on this.
First up, one question. Victoria, do you support the school up north? Is that why you're against the Ohio thing?
Hail the victors. So
congrats on your basketball championship.
Thank you. I single-handedly did that myself.
Of course. I would, out of the 5 women, I would drop Chloe, not due to talent, because she is very, very talented. I just think it is what's going to happen after this year. That I think she does enough extracurriculars that maybe she wants to do something else for a bit. So odds are at the end of the season, it's going to be those 4, but then they'll audition and bring in more people. Out of the 5, that's the 5 men that I would love to see continue on. I would go with Dismukes, Marcelo, Jadge, Colin Jost. And since I know this is a bit of a controversial pick, but since I've met him before, Tommy.
Yeah, that's fair. I know that you're a big Tommy guy. I think that the women that Nick named are the right choices, and it's nothing specifically against Chloe, but I just feel like she's been around a long time. We've sort of seen what she could do. I feel like there's, Jane is growing as a performer, so I prefer to see her there. Ashley's a no-brainer. Veronica, to me, is a no-brainer as well, and I think that Sarah, there still is that like slight element of like every episode, you never know, we might get something really interesting from Sarah, so I'd rather have her there. And then, the men that Nick named, Jeremy, James, Andrew, Marcelo, and Keenan. So, for me, like, I think probably keeping Keenan in the sense of paring down the cast isn't a big deal to me. I think that he's like locked in until at least Lauren leaves the show. You have the pairing of Andrew and James. You get to keep James, who plays the president. I think Marcelo does a lot for the show, and Jeremy is a rising star that I think we're going to be talking about all season long next year. So I sort of feel like those are the right choices. That would be cutting Cam and Ben and Tommy from the featured players, which I think they're all on the chopping block. It'll be interesting to see who does make it through, who, you know, they could all come back. Some could not, some could. We shall see. And then Mikey Day would be the other one that would be cut there. So I think you have a choice in, you know, you're a veteran. Do you want to keep Keenan? Do you want to keep Mikey? I think in the case of cutting down the 9 players, you know, diversity's sake, obviously would love to keep Keenan in that group. So probably makes sense there. So I think you probably made the right choice, Nick. I think it's a great question. Yeah.
After losing Emil Joaquin last year, I have no confidence in my prediction abilities at all for who's coming back and who's not.
Yes, exactly. It's always really fun to see. We can speculate all we want. We're definitely going to be doing a lot of postseason coverage, talking about legacies and you know, who will survive and who won't. But the answers will only come in August. Let's do our last question. This one comes from Noel, who asks, realistically, can SNL UK survive if it completely cuts the cord from the flagship show? No cameos or references, entirely UK-based content for everything? Or does it need a Faye, Fallon, or Foo Fighters once in a while? Jared, what do you think? Does there need to be this connection between the two shows, or can the UK survive without it?
So I don't think it will ever fully disconnect. Now, if we're going to talk, let's say 20 years in the future, that's very possible. But I think you're always going to have overlap, and you're going to have people like Tina and people like Jimmy or maybe Seth in the future help keep the show afloat and inject what has made SNL USA last for 50 years. So we're only five episodes in, so I think they're still on their training wheels. We're not ready to push them out and have them go down the hill just yet. So I would say it's possible, but I think we're a ways out from that happening.
Victoria, what do you think?
I think, you know, I think that's a very real possibility. British humor has its own life, and there's a lot, you know, of successful British comedies out there. And I think they have their own, you know, POV. They have a lot going on for themselves. I think, like, yes, you know, having Tina Fey, Jimmy Fallon, and a few other folks joining on helps. But I think once it stands on its own, it's able to move on without any sort of real connection to the US. We just need to give it a little bit of time to get its footing.
I do think that there is a chance that the show, and it should, in theory, if it stays around, will be around past when Lorne Michaels is no longer operating SNL US. And in that case, I think that the connection will break slightly at that point, and then you will only have those connections when someone from the US comes in as a headliner on the UK. So I think eventually we will get to the point where they feel like more distinct entities. But I think the thing that gave me the most promise was when, you know, we had a lot of references to the US show this week, naturally. But if you go into the music video sketch, the Faraway Tree that Nicola was rapping, in the background of the two executives was a poster for the Hot Streak sketch from the Boovies Goes to the Movies show from that first episode of SNL UK. So there was like an inside baseball meta reference already for, if you watched the first episode of SNL UK, you were rewarded for watching all the way through to getting to the 5th episode. So yes, there are SNL US references that give you even a bigger reward, but that I think will eventually apply for the UK people who don't watch the US show, as they will continue to watch the UK shows and will find the show within the show the same way that we do over here. So it'll happen eventually.
I mean, and Riz Ahmed in his monologue also talked about, like, yeah, we finally took one of their shows. But I mean, if you look at something like The Office, which I know is not a live show like Saturday Night Live, but like The Office for them works really well, and Office here works really well too. I think it's going to be similar in that way. They just culturally will, cater to their audience, and it'll be great.
There's always going to be some overlap with celebrities as well, because American actors here are still popular in England. So you have, I'm sure Foo Fighters is big internationally as well, but maybe you'd have somebody, I don't know, like Sabrina Carpenter host on the British one, because I know she's done international tours at this point. So you're going to see you'll see some overlap. The thought I had in my head right now is it would be like a reverse Declaration of Independence.
Yes.
Well, like Anya and Patty said, April 25th will be Codependence Day.
Aw.
That's very true. I will throw out also that I would really love if the season finale, or series finale, as they call it over there, of series 1 of SNL UK to be hosted by either or both of Eric Idle or Michael Palin. That is my Will Ferrell hosting the season 51 finale version overseas, because for me, they both hosted SNL 4 times. They have that Monty Python connection to the start of the show. We've been talking about would be so great to get them back. I think the last time Michael Palin hosted was in the early 80s, Eric Idle in the original era. It would feel so full circle to get them back on SNL UK just to start that. To me, that would be a perfect way to end this series. So
is Paul McCartney the musical guest too for that one?
I mean, it would be kind of crazy. He'd have to take the prime. I don't think he has the time to fly to New York the same night to do it, because it's going to air the same night. But
that's a good point.
yes. But yeah, I think there's a chance that Ringo is on the US one that night and performs with Paul, which would be absolutely epic. But perhaps there is another great, maybe Mick Jagger will be the musical guest in the UK. That would be epic as well. So we'll see what happens. We should find out some more very soon. But Jared, thank you for joining us here tonight. Always great to get you on the show.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's great to talk with you and Victoria, and I'm pumped for the upcoming 3 weeks. It's going to be awesome.
Should be a lot of fun, and we'll catch up after the season.
All right.
Thanks, Jared. Bye. All right, Victoria, we did it.
We did it.
How was your first feedback show?
Now that everyone was really cool. I didn't know what to expect. I thought I was going to be more so quiz. I'm glad that it wasn't a quizzing type of show. But no, it was really great to meet everyone. This was really fun. What a great community we have.
Can you rank everyone that came on the show here tonight from your favorite to your least favorite?
Oh, no.
Okay, good. Well, I'm really grateful.
Actually, no.
I'm really grateful that you came on here with us, and I'm really thankful for all the
Likewise.
patrons who continue to support us and came to hang out with us for the last 2+ hours. These are so much fun to do to wrap up a month and just build the hype for the upcoming episodes. So we have 3 double header nights coming up on May 2nd, May 9th, and May 16th, which will be a marathon, but I'm so excited and to be here to talk about each and every one of them. So I hope you'll join us this coming weekend when we talk about Amy Lou Wood and Meek on the UK, as well as Olivia Rodrigo double duty in the US. I will also be here on Wednesday night. We're going to do a special UK by the numbers show where I will be here with Mark Malkoff and Arthur Meyer, 2 amazing longtime SNL fans who I really want to get their takes on the British version of this show. So we're going to talk about the numbers of the week and go through the power rankings through 5 weeks of series 1 of SNL UK. And of course, we'll have full coverage of all the episodes coming up. Lots of roundtables, lots of by the numbers shows. We're going to have the Patron show returning, where we're going to do 20 years later, talking about the final 3 episodes of season 31. And then we'll have all of our postseason coverage, including our final feedback show in June, where we will talk to all of the patrons that want to come on and talk about the finales of both of these shows. So Victoria, please tell the listeners where they can check out everything you got going on.
I am doing lots and lots with Go Comedy Improv in Detroit, Michigan. So please follow and support there if you're local to the area. Otherwise, you can catch me on the Saturday Night Network on May 2nd at 1 a.m. Eastern Time for Hot Takes. So I get to do this all over again.
Looking forward to it, Victoria. Yeah, that'll be absolutely fantastic. All right. Well, I want to thank Late Nighter for being the presenting partner of our show here today. All of the patrons who called in and everyone who hung out with us in the live chat or even sent in your questions could not do the show without all of you. We invite you to subscribe to the podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify to never miss any of our episodes here on the SNN. And you can also follow us at the SNL Network to see all of our coverage of all of these May episodes coming up. We got the whole entire team here at the SNN cooking up some great graphics for you over the next month. So on behalf of everyone here, my name is Jon Schneider, and we will see you next time, everybody. Have a good one.